What is your life script? Are you even aware that you have one? Where are you coming from? And how can understanding your life script transform your life in better? Hello again. I am Nicoletta Porosano, and today I will guide you to explore your life script, what has been assigned to you before you were born. In other words, your ancestry. That what traveled in time through the history of humanity and arrived straight into you, into your cells and DNA, and is now driving your life. Where are we all coming from? Do we really know this? Or we only pretend we know? We've been told that the universe created itself 13.8 billion years ago, that Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago, that humans evolved from a microorganism and appeared in Africa 2.5 million years ago. And then from 200,000 humans around 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens managed to exterminate all other species of humans, and as they traveled through continents, leave behind a massive extinction of flora and fauna. And then they settled and increased population 100 times, from 8 million at the beginning of the agricultural revolution around 12,000 years ago to 800 millions at the beginning of our modern era, only 300 years ago, at the start of our what we call scientific revolution that has changed the world to how we know it today and how we see it portrayed in books. And somehow, from us, the wild humans, doing everything to survive, including cannibalism, conquering territories, and killing others, of course, destroying also the ecosystem on the way, our ancestors have somehow managed to develop a more civilized world and a more structured and organized environment, which now continued the rise and fall of different old empires, pushing borders through wars, through imperialism, colonialism, and then bringing the world towards the 20th centuries, when most of us have been born, to witness this absolutely incredible technological and digital advancement to help us all communicate right now and maybe dream of an even more sophisticated life. How is this possible? And what do we learn from history and anthropology? Well, I would say that firstly, we learned that throughout our history, which is kind of a short history of 2.5 million years, we humans have left our mark on Earth and in the larger universe. We also learned that early humans were wild and barbaric, and although they evolved, now the questions remain, do these people live in us? Because genetics tell us that we inherit our ancestors' genes. So their traits are dormant in us and they can be activated unconsciously. Now, over the past century, the new science of psychology told us that we are all born with a personality and some inherited traits. Then we were told that we have some predispositions, that our personality changes through the interaction with the environment. And these days we witness an increase in the level of collective consciousness. And many individuals are on their own quest of self-discovery, of healing and personal growth. So what seems to remain the same is our human nature. Maybe life is not as harsh as it used to be in the past for most of us humans these days, despite the fact that the wealth is not equally distributed. But in its essence, human nature has not changed much. It has been given to us as evolutionary memory, as genetic memory, as maybe even karmic memory. If we are to be honest with ourselves, we all need to review how we look at human personality. We need to articulate a new theory of personality, one that acknowledges that there is potential in every single one of us for envy. In the same way, there is potential for admiration, there is potential for hatred and violence in all of us. In the same way, there is potential for love and nurturing. There is potential for fear in every single one of us. And there is courage. There is potential for boredom and there is potential for curiosity. There is, of course, potential for anxiety. And then there is room for peace. There is potential for shame, guilt, and despair. In the same way, we have resources for pride, for innocence, and for happiness. Of course, there is potential for sarcasm, for aggressiveness, for disappointment. In the very same way, we have resources for respect, for care, and for satisfaction. And then we could continue like this forever, looking at all those 4,000 traits that we have managed in the psychology world to name up to now. What is crucial is to understand what makes the difference in what we manifest in life. How can we even understand why some respond to circumstances more appropriately and others react automatically, like our primate ancestors? And how come the same person manages to oscillate between very different ways of engaging in life? In my humble view, what makes the difference is how aware are we and how much do we know ourselves, how much we understand our parents, our grandparents, and their ancestors. What kind of experience they've been through. How did they live? Have they suffered? Have they been ill? Have they been through war or famine? Have they starved? Have they been exploited or discriminated? What made them happy? What made them sad? Because their joy and hurt, their happiness and sorrow live in us and await for every single opportunity to come to life again. This is why it's so important to take our self-discovery seriously, to be actively engaged with our own healing and to work on a daily basis to grow conscious awareness, to attain that level of presence, to be able to spot potential for conflict, potential for friction in real time, and this way change the course of our actions and implicitly the quality of our relationships with ourselves, with our family, with the other people, and with the world. Our life script and ancestry go much beyond our family tree. It is less about who was who and more about who was how. And unpacking this little bit of information, this piece of history, will help you tremendously in your journey of self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Let me share a little bit of my story. I was brought up by my grandparents in my first 7 years of life, and I was very, very connected to them and, of course, to their pain. My grandmother never met her father. He died before she was born during the First World War. She never left her mother's home, and she married very late in life with a man that was willing to come into her own land. And she always had this longing and a very soft and caring nature towards people. She healed her wounds by taking care of others, and I feel like I'm doing the same. Then my grandfather was shot in his leg during the Second World War and was taken prisoner in Ukraine. He spent 3 years there in a camp, and there were many times he told us that he thought he will never come back home. He will never walk on his country land again. Now, my grandfather was a gifted musician, and he was needed in the officers' quarters every Saturday to entertain them whilst they were partying and drinking gallons of vodka. My grandfather escaped in the early hours of a Sunday when all guards were so drunk that no one could pay attention. And he swam a 400-meter wide river, then walked bare feet for 900 kilometers. When he arrived home, he found that they buried him already, and that two of his daughters have also died of typhus. During the first weeks or upon his return, my father was conceived, which explains, at least to me, what kind of experiences have been downloaded in my father and why his life was so marked by instability and addiction, which further explains, in a way, my own inheritance. Trauma has been woven in my family for many generations, and perhaps it has somehow intruded your own life too, because this is our shared history of humanity. So you better start working on that life script right now. Start asking questions and do it now when you can still find the answers, because our parents can go suddenly, and most of us have probably lost all our grandparents. We don't have too many sources of information around our life script. It is essential to start working on your life script right away to understand your ancestry and what happened into your lineage, to your lineage, before you were born. Because, my friend, that piece of life, it's in your cells and DNA. It's breathing inside of you and will continue to do so for as long as you live. Your life script is one of the keys you need to unlock the mystery of your life. Go deeper. Go deeper in your process of self-discovery, and you will see how clarity and direction suddenly open up a new perspective to your life. And then you will start to experience life from a place of grounding and expansion. I hope I really inspired you to look into this aspect of your life from a different angle, and you will take action and you will start working on your life script today. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions and how you find this process in general. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already, and go out and find some more information about me and my work on my website, which is in the description box below. And most importantly, stay